Hi yogis! Welcome back to my basement yoga studio for another yoga practice. This one will be a gentle focus practice and we'll be focusing on the upper body. The only prop you need is some kind of a strap. So if you have a yoga belt or strap, it needs to be pretty long. That will work. Definitely have that nearby. If you don't have a yoga strap, no problem. You can use a tie, a belt, a bungee cord, and in fact, what I'm going to be using, I scouted my basement and found this cable cord. It's plenty long, it will work fine, so that's what I will use during the practice, just so you can see that you don't need to have actual official yoga props. You can grab whatever is around your house. Just make sure it's long enough so that you can have your arms in sort of a wide V. And we'll be using that in a little bit. I am sitting on a block just so I can sit more upright. We are going to open by sitting. You absolutely don't have to sit like I am. You can sit cross-legged, you can sit in a chair, and you can also be standing for any of these opening exercises. The main reason I'm seated is it just makes it easier for me to stay centered on the camera. All right, so we're going to begin with a simple breath awareness exercise, taking the attention to your breath. This is a little bit of a check-in. I like to start my classes with a chance to check in to see what's going on. It's kind of a you are here check-in. You're on your mat or in your space, whatever that space is at home. You can close your eyes if you wish. Begin to turn your attention inside. And simply notice the feel of your breath in your body. There's no need to change it or do anything different with it. Notice your breath exactly how it is, exactly how it exists in this moment. And see if you can feel one or two full, complete breaths, following the breath from when it travels in through your nose to a complete inhale, and then again following the breath as it exits your body, in or out through the nose or the mouth, whatever feels easier for you. Because we're going to focus on the upper body today, we're going to coordinate a little real simple movement with breath. So I have my hands resting on the tops of my thighs. As you breathe in, lift your shoulders up toward your ears. And as you exhale, send the shoulders down. So whatever pace feels good to you. This feels nice to me. So I thought we'd focus on the upper body. A lot of the virtual yoga practice I've seen right now are focused on lower body. I already did one on lower body because we're all at home, working, spending a lot of time seated. And you can roll the shoulders as you do this if you'd like. The only key is that you're moving with the breath. Yeah, our upper body can be affected also from sitting at a desk, on a computer, on a phone, and it can be impacted by stress. When we get stressed, sometimes we tend to huddle, we tend to internally rotate, go inside, closing up the upper body. A few more breaths. So you're going to open up some of those muscles that might get tight in the shoulders in particular. Maybe a little neck stuff there. And maybe just one or two more. Extending your breath to wherever it needs it. Let's see, I did 3 more. All right, here's where you're going to pick up your strap. And again, any long household object is fine. Mine has little plugs on the end. Just make sure if it has a buckle or a plug on the end, you don't hit yourself with that. Take a nice wide hold with your strap. So arms wide apart, much wider than shoulder width. Hold it out in front of you. Feel as if you're pulling your shoulder blades apart, so moving your arms out of their sockets away from you. And then as you breathe in, keep that distance away as you start to open and lift the strap overhead. And as you exhale, you might need to take more width in your strap as you lower it any amount behind. It might be behind your head, maybe more behind your neck. I'm drawing my shoulder blades together in the back to lower the strap, and I can bring it all the way down toward my low back. That might not work for you, and that's fine. And then on your next inhale, again, moving with the breath, lifting up, exhaling, come to front. So continue that with your own pace, inhaling, lifting up, exhaling, going down. I'm going to turn to the side for a moment just to show you that we're trying to isolate this movement in our shoulder girdle. So we don't want the back to do kind of an in-out cat-cow shape with the movement. There's nothing wrong with that. It just means you have other muscles. You have your back working rather than your shoulders. So I'll show you to the side. I'm going to inhale, lift up, reach my arms long, keep my natural curves in my back, but they won't change. My chest doesn't thrust forward as I lift up. And then as I exhale, the low back curve doesn't really deepen as I pull the arms away from you, but oh, I feel it in my shoulders. Exhale down. And same thing on the way up. Sometimes the way up is a little harder. Inhale, reaching up, reaching the arms away, drawing my shoulder blades together. Woo! And then exhale, back to front. So a couple more like that. And remember, as long as you're moving with the breath, that's fine. That's what we want to do. Movement with the breath. That's our mind-body yoga practice. Search for where you feel it. I've seen this exercise referred to as shoulder flossing, so you can see why. Okay, let's do one more together. Breathe in, arms up, reach tall with the arms up and overhead. Pull the arms out of the socket. Exhale, draw shoulder blades together and behind you. And then one more time, front, reaching up, overhead. Exhale, arms down. So one more thing with the strap, and you can play around with this more if you'd like. There's lots of things that feel good. You can stretch one arm and then the other. The one other thing we're going to do is we're going to take the strap behind us, palms facing away. So you can see my hands on either side of my body. Your hands will be a little bit away from your body, a little bit wider than shoulder width, probably not quite as wide as you had them before. You can draw the shoulder blades a little bit together on your back, lifting the arms a little away from your low back. So right now my thumbs are in toward my body. I'm going to externally rotate my arms so that my thumbs point to the outside, and then internally rotate my shoulders, my arms, so that they point thumbs back toward the body. And do this a few times. This can feel nice too. Again, I'm going to slant a little more so you can see. So as I turn my thumbs out, I draw my shoulder blades together. Nice stretch in the shoulders. And just like we did with the shoulder flossing, arms overhead, I'm trying to take that movement in my shoulders rather than in my back. All right, and then you can release and you can set your strap aside. We're not going to use it again. So the next move that we're going to do is a little bit of a shoulder hug. We're going to go the other way and get behind the shoulders. We're going to take our arms and I'm going to mirror you. So cross your left arm over your right and give yourself a nice little hug. And you can move around with this and take your fingertips and crawl them back toward your shoulder blades and see if you can actually coax the shoulder blades wider apart. It might feel good to lift your elbows up and down. So you can stay right here, right now during these difficult times. It's nice to give ourselves a little bit of a hug, right? We have to do social distancing, so why not self-hug? If you'd like to take this into a different version, you can keep the elbows stacked, crossing the arms wide. Sometimes I call this Wonder Woman or Charlie's Angels pose, depending on how old you are. You can draw the hands closer together, backs of the palms together, or maybe you find you have space to touch your finger to the palm. This is eagle arms. If you are in eagle arms, lift your elbows up, pull your arms away, so getting more stretch in the back of the shoulders. If you are in the Wonder Woman version, great, same thing. Lift the elbows up, draw your arms away, or stay in the self-hug and get a nice stretch here, whatever version works for you. And then one more breath in your version. As you exhale, open your arms, give them a little shake out to the side. Maybe move your neck around, and we'll switch to the second side. So this time it's your right arm cross over top. And if that's not the correct arm, just switch sides. Sometimes I mess up in class, so it's inevitable that it would happen on video too. Remember, we start with crawling our fingertips back a little bit, hugging, and feel how that feels to actually put your hands on yourself and give yourself a little bit of love. Feels good, right? I hope so. And then either stay here with your compassionate self-hug or take your arms in this wider part, one elbow stacked over the other. Perhaps the back of the palms come closer to each other, back of the hands, or perhaps you can do the double interlace and touch the palms together. You do not get special yogi points if you can get here. It just depends on how long you've been practicing, the shape of your arms. We're all different. You really want to go to the place where your body is feeling the best stretch, and that might be right here. That might be here. Even if you can do here, that doesn't mean that that's the right place for you to be. You decide. Wherever you are, lift your elbows up a little bit more. Draw them away from you to increase the stretch in the back of the shoulders. All right, take one or two more breaths. And then exhale. Slowly unwind, release. You can give yourself another little shake out if you need to. So we're going to come around to hands and knees. I'm on a mat. I'm not using anything under my knees. I don't feel the need to. If you feel the need to have a blanket or some other cushion or a double mat under your knees, go right ahead and set that up. So I'm going to turn this way to start, and I'll be turning both ways so that you can see me on each side. We are going to do a revolved pose. Sometimes it's called twisted child or revolved child. Starts on all fours. That's completely fine for your hips to be back a little bit. They don't have to be up. We're going to take the arm away from the camera. So this is my left arm. Lift it out to a half of a T. And then you're going to weave that arm under your body, palm up, so that you can set your chin down, or your side of your cheek down on the ground. Now, if your head doesn't come down, that's fine. I'm actually going to grab my block. You can grab a pillow, so a pillow might feel even better here. So weave the arm under, place the head or the side cheek on your pillow if that feels better for you, and it may not. It's fine to have your head up here too, as long as it's comfortable on your head and neck. I'm going to set my cheek down. This top arm helps me to adjust the pose. So I have my fingers in like a spider or fingertips. That can help me push away a little bit. I also have the option to take this hand right on top of the other one, or to take this hand and place it on my low back as if I'm slipping it into my back pocket. Again, the hips can be pushed further back. They can stay more in the air, whatever feels right to you. The top arm can come up as well. So whatever version you choose for today, breathe into this pose. Maybe one more breath. Exhale. Lift back up to your all fours. You might like to do a little cow, cat in between. And then you'll switch to your other arm. So your arm near the camera, I'm just going to shift all the way around to the other side so that you'll still be able to see me. So again, this is going to be my arm that's away from the camera, and this time it's my right arm. Breathe in. If you want, you can take that to a little open twist away. And then exhale, slide the palm underneath the body, drawing the side of the shoulder blade and the side of the cheek down toward the floor. Hips stay in the air or maybe press back a little more. Remember that your top hand lets you adjust the pose, gently pushing into that top hand, twisting, exploring. Maybe you do a little bit of a reach or slipping the hand into the back pocket. Find one or two more breaths, breathing into what feels good, whatever sensation the degree of that sensation feels right to you. And then exhale, use your hands to push yourself back up to all fours. So we'll do one more kneeling pose, and this kneeling pose is called puppy or melting heart. Sometimes I've heard it referred to as half dog or quarter dog. It's like halfway between dog pose and child's pose. So we'll be sending our hips back like in child's pose, but they'll stay in the air, and then our arms will come forward, reaching our torso forward and allowing our chest to melt toward the ground. And this will give us a really nice stretch behind the shoulder blades. So we set up in all fours. You'll see my hips are over my knees. They're going to stay there. And I start to walk my hands out, similar to down dog pose. So stretching my hands way out about shoulder width apart. And then I'm going to allow my forehead to drop toward the floor as my heart comes down to the ground. So you can see, I'm just lifting up to talk to you, you can see that my chest is melting toward the ground. My forehead is touching down, yours might not. It can stay up, or again, you can have a little pillow or block underneath it. Helping use the stretch of my hips, pushing back to get more length in my spine. An option to put the elbows down, interlace the hands, take the thumbs to the back of the neck. Stay here for another breath or two. And then on an exhale, walk your hands in toward your body. Next, we're going to come down to lying flat down on your belly. So I'll start to walk myself out. I'm going to keep my glasses on so I can see. You might want to take glasses off if you have glasses on. So the hands will come by your side. My forearm is going to go out in that half T shape again. And then I'm going to, again, just like we did in Revolved Child, use my fingertips to adjust. This time I'm going to roll my body away, so toward that T arm, stacking my legs. And again, my head can be up, it can be on the floor, it can be on a little block or a pillow. So for many people, this is a great stretch. If you have open shoulders and need more of a stretch, you might take this top leg and touch it somewhere in the ground behind you. You can push a little more with this bottom hand, and oh, I'm really feeling it now. This hand can also, again, come to your hip, your low back, your back pocket. Sometimes people can tape the top arm and take the fingertips back toward the other arm. I'm certainly not going to be able to touch there, but I can move in that direction. One more option I'm going to show you if you need to adjust this or it doesn't feel right, you can slide your arm up or down a little bit in its T shape, so a little higher, a little lower, or you can take it in a half of a cactus, half of a goalpost shape, and roll back that way. So one more breath, and then exhale, come back. You can switch to the other side, same as I did before. I'm going to come all the way around so I can stay facing toward you. Taking my left arm out in a T shape this time, rolling right onto the left side of my body. Take a moment, so not to rush into what I think my maximum is going to be, because I want to find where that is. It may well be different on this second side. In fact, I'm going to adjust my arm up a little bit further. And then I do have room to slide my foot back, so I'm going to do that. And oh, my left shoulder has been sticky these past few days, not sure why. Probably some new pattern of movement being at home. If you want, you can lift up the top arm, reach the fingertips toward the others. Maybe you have more access to get closer here than I do. And yet I'm getting a really good, intense, deep stretch. So I absolutely don't need to touch my fingers in order to find the right stretch that's for my body. Okay, a few more breaths here. You can come back to this anytime you want, but for now, we're going to roll back and then flip over to roll on your back. I'm going to come up for just a moment and I'll show you the last thing that we're going to do. So for the last thing, you're going to take one hand. I'm taking my right hand, so I'll be sideways to you. And you're going to take that hand palm toward your neck, right on the back of your neck. Bottom hand is going to go on your spine, palm away from you. So you're forming, this is called butterfly wings, but we're going to do this with gravity and lying on our hands. So I'll lay back here. So top hand goes behind the neck, and that's almost like a little pillow for your head. Bottom hand comes underneath the spine, palm away. And maybe you can slide the bottom hand a little more up between your shoulder blades. You can adjust. Maybe you can slide the top hand back a little bit at the bottom of your neck, like where your collar would be. And see how rolling your shoulder blades a little more underneath you. See how that affects the feel of this pose. Allow gravity to support you here. Now let's take about 3 breaths. So your breath pace might be different than mine, and that's fine. And after your 3rd breath, take your hands out. You can take them out to a cactus and maybe shimmy them up and down a few times. And then we'll reverse to the other side. I'm not going to flip this time. I'll just stay where I am. We'll take the one palm, the one that was the bottom, place that behind the neck, kind of reaching down toward where the back of your shirt collar would be, with the hand toward the body. And then your other hand goes palm down. I'm going to roll toward you a little bit so I can slip that hand under my spine to start, and then I'm going to try to wiggle it up toward in between my shoulder blades, wherever it can get. You'll always notice that the degree of stretch you get depends on your own body. So some poses that I feel like, wow, this is so intense, I've had my students say, oh, I'm not really feeling anything here. Nothing wrong with that. You can shimmy around to see if you do feel something, but you might not. That tells you something too. It's all information and feedback about your body. And as you stay in this pose for another minute or two, you might find that room to shimmy a little more, arrange, change the position of your hands. And on this side, let's also take 3 more breaths. And then slide your hands out. You can do that little cactus thing again, or this time take both hands behind you, elbows up. Crawl your fingertips back and forward a little bit. Another little stretch for your shoulders here. And then find a place where you can rest for a few moments. I recommend having your arms fairly wide to continue that openness across the front of your shoulders. But if you want them overhead or some other position, do the version that feels good. Feet can be bent if you prefer that. Start to reconnect with your breath. I'm going to return to sitting up. So find your breath one more time. Just like we did at the start of the practice, check in with your body. Notice the feel of your breath, and then expand your awareness to the floor supporting you. Perhaps a little bit of an openness in your shoulders, your neck. We really focus more on the shoulders, the upper back today. So can you let that part of the body Be supported by the floor. Soften a little further. Grow even a little more heavy. Releasing any muscular action there. And then take 3 to 5 more breaths. Flooding your body with your good natural breath. One more. Fully mindfully inhaling. Fully mindfully exhaling. And then take your time to roll to one side. To transition to a seated position. And we'll conclude the class together. So find a comfortable seat once more. Return to the natural flow of your breath. Rest your hands on your body, or you can place them together in Anjali Mudra. Sometimes this is called Namaste. A mudra is simply a hand gesture, seal, helping us to focus our attention. Keep your mudra as I have a reading to conclude the class today. This is from Arthur Ashe, the tennis player. And I thought that this seemed really appropriate during this difficult time where we're not sure what path to take, what way to go. So he said, I keep sailing on in the middle passage. I am sailing into the wind and the dark, but I am doing my best to keep our boat steady and my sails full. Take these last few moments to reflect on that idea of whatever you are doing right now, you are doing your best. You are trying to keep things steady. Allow your sails to be full, your heart to be full. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you for joining me today. Wishing you peace, wishing you health. Take care.